Well, I think that the amount of time that went by was like 5 years, you know. A lot can happen in 5 years. And not only it was like life experiences, but you can get exposed to all kinds of stuff in 5 years, you know. Not like diseases and shit, but like, you know, like good music. So I think those two things, you know, like just life and meeting new people and all those sorts of things. And I think the reason that I say that it was painful is just because it was so prolonged and it seemed so interrupted, you know. There's so many things that went on. The worst thing being that there was, you know, a few deaths. And Alan's wife, Natasha, died of cancer. And during the making of this record, she was dying. So, you know, Al would leave Natasha every day to come to the studio and work. And it was just, it was a lot to, I don't know how he did it, you know. I think in some ways going to make music was a little bit of a relief for him, you know, to have something to focus on. So there's that, and it was just the label, you know, meddling and giving their opinion and then not liking it, and studio sound problems and just like the whole gamut, basically, you know. And it was just seemed like constant, like, if it wasn't one thing, it was another thing. He's a really big Susie fan, and I love her stuff. I can't say that I know a lot, you know, I don't know all her records, but we got to play with them a long time ago, and I gave her a present, and she was really cool. I gave her this necklace that's like used to hold poison in it, and so that was a really great experience. It's not like an influence of mine, but I totally adore her. She's incredible, and her voice and her, you know, her singing and her performance and everything is just. And there's only one Susie, you know. I know when I was, you know, going into my teenage years, there's this whole movement. And it was the Riot Girl movement and Babes in Toyland and Hole and Al Salvin and you know, Bratmobile and fuck, I could go on forever. That whole movement, Sonic Youth, Kim Gordon, you know, like that was such a massive movement. I feel like maybe there was like a bit of a backlash, you know, and because the backlash was we went into nu metal, like the most horrendous fucking period in music that I can think of. I can't think of a worse time, honestly. I'll take anything cheesy in the 70s or the 80s, like the worst of the 70s and 80s, give it to me over fucking nu metal. And I feel like that was like the male, like, you know, backslash. Like, it was just fucking awful period, you know? I didn't really think about it. I just got to a point where I wasn't so self-conscious about singing, you know? And I've always been really focused or really attracted to, like, melodic singing, you know? I couldn't sing something that wasn't melodic. I never, even the Distillers, it's melodic, you know? So I guess I'm just, it's not a hang-up for me anymore, you know? I don't care. I love to sing like that, you know? And it sounds good, I think, for the most part. But I really do believe that that the music, that it comes in waves and it's cyclical, and it might morph into, it might take more from the whole each decade, you know, and turn into something else. But I think there's a pattern, you know? I really do. Yeah, I don't know if I've kind of bashed anyone, really. Have I bashed anyone in the press? I mean, if someone's bashed me, I may have bashed back, but, you know, I don't really make a habit of going around talking about other people in a bad light. You know, maybe I give my opinion now and then, but self-confidence is one thing, and then, you know, just being tacky and rude, and I don't want to be like that, you know. I mean, if I can, I will, you know, but I also, everyone's different, everyone has a different view, and I'll give mine, you know, but I don't want to offend people. The way I feel and think about something may not necessarily be how someone else feels or thinks, but you always can find, you know, like-minded people. And I recently went vegan vegetarian vegan after I saw this documentary called Earthlings, and I've been vegan before, and it's a really touchy subject for some people, you know, because people like to eat meat, you know, and I was one of those people until I saw this documentary recently, and I just don't really want to partake in like suffering, and I really feel like people are, you know, we're all energy, and down to our cells we carry like memory, and like you put this, whatever you put in your body, you know, it resonates at a certain level, and so so that was one thing. And then the gay rights thing, it's infuriating, you know, and it's really fucking sad that this still has to be an issue, you know. And so yeah, I think I probably mentioned something. This legislation that keeps getting denied for same-sex couples to be able to have the right to get married, I think obviously yes. And you know, there's a lot of homophobia and sexism and racism in America. That is just like, it's like a fundamental issue. It's a fundamental issue in America. You know, I don't know if it's going to leave anytime soon. It's going to be something that America struggles with. But I know that, you know, there's a lot of people who are more willing to be more open-minded, you know, I think. I hope, too.